I thought it was only respectful to buy everyone matching hats. I don't even know what kind of hat it is. It's a sort of brown bucket hat.
It's a very shallow bucket. You know, you're not going to find that on a building site.
And I also bought some orange pants. And only after they arrived, I see that they say the Don on them. The Don is a bit self-important for me as a sort of nickname, particularly on pants. But the thing that we would be doing was a dance in lingerie. We were pole dancing, and one of our 3 poles was being electrocuted. And I must say, I pined for electrocution.
Hello and welcome to Spent, brought to you in association with Nationwide, a good way to bank. It's the show where our guests show us the receipts. Quite literally, we dig through things they've bought, things they loved, things they regret, things that make very little sense at all. And along the way, the aim is to find out a little bit more about who they are. And this week, I have the pleasure to be joined by one of the UK's most beloved comedians and magnificent marathon runner. It's Ivo Graham. Ivo, hello.
Hello, Matt.
Now, it's been a while since I've seen you.
Please.
But
what a pleasure to see you again.
A pleasure to see you. We've had some interesting run-ins in the past.
Over a decade ago, terrifyingly, I think possibly my first sort of TV gig was one hosted by you. And I would love to hear how you reminisce about that show when you're talking about it to people, as I'm sure you do.
Now, what show is it you're talking? Is it Fake Reaction?
I'm talking about ITV2's Fake Reaction.
ITV2's Fake Reaction. I very rarely reminisce about Fake Reaction. My main memory of it was so Fake Reaction, by the way, was a panel show in which people came on and one thing, normally bad, would happen to one person, and then the other people had to pretend it was also happening to them. And it was a guessing game. So
I would say that there was sometimes, including when I was on, where sort of bad things were happening to everyone, but they were just extra bad
things happening to someone else. I apologise.
It was a very fun afternoon that I've spent a lot of time reminiscing about.
Oh, good, I'm glad. So my main memory of it was a product called Surströmming. Now, was that involved in your episode?
I'm not sure I can remember.
Surströmming is, and don't directly quote me on this, but I believe it's a sort of, it's like a fish or something that then it gets like urinated on, buried in the ground, and then dug up 6 months later. And it's a sort of delicacy, a Nordic delicacy. Right. But you can smell it like a shark smell blood from a mile away. You can smell Surströmming if someone opens it in an office block, 3 streets down. And this stuff was horrendous, to the point where the studio audience, when we would have it involved in a game, we'd have to do it as the last thing because people would vomit in the audience.
Great. What a great experience.
Yeah. What did you have to do on Fake Reaction?
In some ways, I'm relieved that you can't remember, and I feel a fool for bringing it into any sort of public consciousness.
I can't remember anything about my own life. Everything's a blur.
I find this increasingly, but I think because this was so early on in my career, and I sort of viewed it with such a mix of gratitude for getting to do a show and how nice everyone was being, but also how undeniably out of my comfort zone it was. I was on a team with my captain, Joe Swash.
Of course.
And the other player on my team was National Treasure, Louis Spence.
Incredible.
Pineapple Dance Studios.
What a lineup.
It was a fantastic lineup. I felt very privileged to be part of that trio, but I felt less privileged when it was revealed that the thing that we would be doing was a dance in lingerie.
Oh my God.
Which felt particularly unfair because that's Louis Spence's, that's just another day at work for him.
Exactly.
Whereas my lingerie dancing days have been quite limited. And the reaction that 2 of us were faking was that we were pole dancing and one of our 3 poles was being electrocuted.
Right.
And I must say, actually, I pined for electrocution. I thought that would not necessarily bring dignity to the enterprise, but it would at least sort of distract from what my non-electrocuted pole dancing looked like. Whereas I think it was poor old Joe who was getting the buzz, and meanwhile I was just writhing away in my M&S.
Wow. It's weird that I don't remember that either. But mate, trauma has a funny way of hiding itself, doesn't it?
Well, yes. Well, sometimes the people who watch on are the quickest ones to wipe it from their memory, whereas I'm afraid it's locked in mine. And then we met each other by chance.
Yeah, I ran into you not long after, and we were both go-karting. That was the only time I've ever been go-karting. And I walked through, I was like, oh, it's Ivo Graham, how strange. And I think you were coming out as I was going in.
It's a great shame we didn't get to kart
I know,
together.
I would have been great. You were having I think you were having a photo taken with your crew.
Yeah. Standard team sport protocol.
Of course. I'll be honest, I've never been back go-karting.
Why did you go?
I went because I was doing a thing at the time called alphabet dating with my wife. Yes. Where we would take it in turns to, I love a format, Ivo. Yes. We take it in turns to plan a date. and you had to plan it based on the next letter of the alphabet, and we took it in turns. So I would start on, A, and we'd go abseiling, and then B, and we'd go to a beauty salon or whatever.
Did you do the whole alphabet?
We didn't, because we got up to about letter P, and then we had a child, and we were like, we must pick this back up, and then never have.
Of course.
So we've got a few letters of the alphabet left to go through, but we did it. We got pretty far.
I don't think many people are expecting you to get to P.
And for G, we went go-karting. Yeah. So there you go. What were you doing there?
So I went to join my friend Ed's workouting because it was quite widely known in my friend group then that, barring the occasional appearance on Fake Reaction, I was a sort of recently graduated 23-year-old, killing a lot of time in the days. So when my friend Ed had a spare place on his workouting to Team Sport Charlton, like, would you like to come? And I was delighted to go, but I was very surprised to see you there. And it was a bit too soon after Fake Reaction. I'm afraid there was probably a sort of shudder of just the immediate sense that I was going to have to start pole dancing again. I hadn't done terrifically well on the go-karting either, so I was probably smarting about that. But it did play very well with the crew that, I'd come in and immediately brought a little bit of stardust to the go-karting experience. Just Ivo comes in, immediately there's Matt Edmondson.
Well, if you were to see me go-karting, that stardust would have been swept away pretty quickly.
But that's what you were just doing it with your wife.
I was doing it with my wife.
The pure privacy of marriage.
I found it incredibly stressful. My the white knuckle, famous white knuckles of gripping on something. I couldn't relax at all whilst go-karting. Not that it's meant to be a relaxing sport, but like I was so tense and I was so slow. I found it very, very stressful. Not for me.
I haven't returned to team sport karting, nor sought out much go-karting in my life. I then entered the period of my life where I was going on a lot of stag do's. So go-karting came up quite a lot.
Right.
And now it's been a good few years, and I'm not itching to get back to it.
Well, listen, maybe for the 10-year anniversary, you and I should head back to Charlton. Slip in those helmets.
The anniversary that no one needed.
Yeah.
I think you need to concentrate on your Q date with your wife.
Yeah, do you know what I do, actually? I want to be Q. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What can I do for Q?
Well, it's a quiz, isn't it, probably?
It's what?
It's a quiz.
A quiz.
It's a quiz.
Hey, I love a quiz.
It's a quiz or a quest.
A quiz?
Or a trip to Quito in Ecuador.
All of these are great. Maybe I can combine all three. It's a quest to Quito, and we'll do a quiz when we get there to see if we've been paying attention to our geography.
I'm almost certain Quito's in Ecuador, but if I've let myself down there, do let us know in the comments.
Oh, they will.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, have you ever heard of the internet?
Yes, I have.
They
actually.
will. In fact, I would prefer it to be wrong, just so we can get the comments through. So we're here to talk about money.
Yes.
And can I make an observation about you? In fact, I'm going to.
Yeah, straight in.
Straight in. I noticed that you're colour coordinated today with everything that you're wearing. So your watch matches your shirt, which matches your phone cover.
Yeah.
So everything is sort of.
I'm delighted that you've clocked that.
Yeah, and is that a conscious thing?
I'm afraid it's a conscious thing.
I love that. That's great.
Well, that's very good of you to say, because there's a bit of concern amongst my friends and family about just how far it's gone.
So what do you do on a day where, for example, you're wearing a green shirt?
Those days are rare.
Okay.
Rare to the point of non-existent.
So everything you wear is orange?
No, not. I mean, I would describe astonishingly today's outfit as quite orange light, by dint of me wearing an only partially orange shirt and black trousers and a black jacket, all of which we'll get to. But I think I'm doing a show at the moment called Orange Crush, which is about a few important orange things in my life. The charity, the MS Society, some community action in my hometown of Swindon, which involves wearing orange. It's also about lighter-hearted material such as What's Hits and Iron Brew. But I thought it'd be quite fun for the show to try and colour coordinate as many things in my life as possible around orange. And it's very bad news for the tour promo and general PR that this is the first you've heard of it. But it's great news that I've walked in and you've detected it immediately.
I've detected it immediately, yes. So this isn't a thing. This is for the tour.
Well, it's hard to say, really.
Beyond the tour, this is not going to be part of your life.
The problem is I've got so much stuff now that it's going to be quite difficult to, phase it all out again. And I've got some lovely non-orange clothes, which have had quite a quiet 6 months, which I'm sure would love to return to the fray. But things like, replacing, the phone case and the watch, they're quite embedded now. I also dyed my hair orange for Edinburgh, and I plan to do so again for the tour. That's one of the things that's got the most consternation, I would say, amongst those close to me. and people who care about hair. We must look after our hair. But also in Edinburgh, because halfway through the show I took off a hat to reveal my fully dyed orange hair. It involved wearing a hat sort of all the time at the Edinburgh Fringe, but as if anyone cared.
What sort of hat?
It was a mixture of caps and beanies.
Right.
But I have brought in a worse hat today, which I'd love to discuss. But I've got
we'll get to it.
Pretty solid hat box at home, full of, again, mainly orange items. But someone sent me a DM on social media saying the hair surprise in the show was ruined because I saw you in Leith without your hat on yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And that really got in my head. I was like, the people expect 24-hour vigilance.
Yeah, it's going to be you're going to have to wear a balaclava.
Yeah, okay.
Going forward, yeah.
And I'm sure that won't cause more concern.
No. Okay, because I now that it's been put into context.
Some context,
I understand.
Okay.
I just thought you were like a fashionista. I just thought,
wow.
I just thought this guy is really considered, and I thought maybe that says something about how you spend money. That it's like,
no.
I will be incredibly diligent with my style choices, but it's a bit.
It's a bit. A bit is such a damning word for it, and I am a man trapped in the bit, trapped in so many different sub bits. But this is the main bit. And it is a shame, actually, because a couple of people have said that. They've said, "Oh, I like your shirt matches your shoes. That's very nice." And I realise the kudos, they're quite low level, but nonetheless, sort of sincere kudos I could get for being just a normal person with a slight eccentric flair.
Slightly eccentric, yeah.
Rather than someone who has gone all in.
Yeah.
Because the more you reveal about the product, the less sort of sensible it becomes, really. And I do... It's quite fun sort of trying to think of ways in which you can channel, like, for example, I Googled Matt Edmondson orange just to check whether there are any sort of solid links in your own life that might come
to an orange or to the colour orange.
To Matt Edmondson orange, what's coming up?
What is
two
things that have come up?
From, I would say maybe 5 to 10 years ago in your radio career.
An orange?
Yeah.
What would? Okay, tell me, what are they?
So you did a very, may I say, impressive rap with Tinchy Strider
about oranges,
about the colour orange.
Yes, because famously nothing rhymes with orange.
Well, tell that to Matt Edmondson, who came straight out of the blocks with lozenge. Strider was speechless. It was a pleasure to watch your orange rap. I think your producers and editors would be mad if they weren't cutting a little bit of it in now. And then there was another challenge that you did, maybe with Fern Cotton, where you had to eat a giant chocolate orange conglomerate. Sort of like a melted thing made of lots of chocolate.
My dream. That will have been a long time ago, because I used to basically live off chocolate oranges. I used to love them. And it got to the point where I was getting through so many, I had to ration the segments of chocolate orange into sandwich bags.
That's
and
incredible.
write Monday, Tuesday. So I knew that I couldn't just sit and binge the whole thing. It was a real problem. And then I found out I've got dairy intolerance.
Oh, no.
And so the chocolate orange days are long gone.
Oh, that's a real shame. Well, I can't then recommend you the Bailey's chocolate orange.
No, you can't.
Oh, but also because you're not interested in that on any level.
No.
Of course.
No.
This man does not want cream liqueur.
No.
He doesn't want the cream and he doesn't want the liqueur, and I respect both of those things. But again, I'm a fan of Bailey's. So as soon as I discovered there was a chocolate orange Bailey's, that was the go-to Christmas 2025.
Yeah, are you a chocolate orange at Christmas only kind of guy, or are
No.
you'll have them year round?
Well, but certainly not over the last year.
Yeah,
they were quite a big part of the Edinburgh show. So it was August, like the sort of backstage area at my room at the Pleasance was just covered in sort of orange detritus, and so half-eaten packets of Jaffa cakes and Terry's chocolate oranges, and a lot of different types of iron brew, because we won't get into this now, but they changed the recipe a few years ago and it made a lot of people very angry. So then they brought
I remember, yeah.
Brought out Iron Brew 1901, which was truer to the original recipe, but still not true enough for some true loyalists. And it was a delicate topic in Scotland, so I tried to make sure I was as researched as possible. But it wasn't a lot of fun. Usually as a stand-up, you're quite a streamlined operation. You're a person on a microphone. You can turn up and get straight on. You might have a stage outfit. But this year it was a very different
You're
operation.
carrying a holdall full of anything connected to orange.
A colossal orange suitcase full of just dreadful choices.
Yeah. What's the expenses claim that goes through? Can you claim back all those chocolate oranges?
I haven't actually been too vigilant on the old expense front. I think, of course, it is work. It is a significant part of my life, and it is bled into the rest of my life. but it is fun. I'm having a nice time, and I know the two aren't mutually exclusive, but I think if I'm starting to claim back on my chocolate oranges, then a little bit of the joy will have gone out of the process as well. So occasionally, I think the orange holdall that got claimed. The orange laptop case that might have got claimed. A couple of the orange clothes items, but I'm not putting my supermarket receipts through.
No, fair enough.
If I'm buying chocolate oranges or Nando's peri peri sauce or multi-packs of What's-Its, that's on me.
That's on you, exactly, because you are going to enjoy them.
I am going to enjoy
They're
them.
as much for pleasure as they are for work. Can I ask a question about the chocolate orange? Because it's been a while since I've seen one, but I remember feeling quite upset, actually. For me, the greatest part of the chocolate orange was the central column of melted chocolate that used to attach all of the segments. And it was a real treat. You'd get to the end of the segments and you'd have this sort of...
Spine.
The spine, exactly. The backbone of the chocolate orange. And I feel now they take the spine away, and now it's not even... You don't even have to crack the thing to...
It's pretty
the segments just come straight out.
No, the foil is the only thing holding it together.
That's really sad.
I hate to overuse the phrase broken Britain, but, we are seeing cutbacks everywhere in modern life, and it's disgusting. And I think that does apply to... And that's so sad for you to sit here as a sort of champion of old school chocolate O's, to hear what it's become in your absence.
Yeah, it's devastating. But presumably there's a lot of savings to be made. You take all of those spines.
Yeah, no.
Maybe 50 spines makes a whole new chocolate orange. Terry's not dumb.
Well, it does, of course, but you could apply that to anything. I mean, the Toblerones. Do you remember when they made the triangles of Toblerones a bit smaller, and it legitimately upset people? This, having a Toblerone is legitimately the high point of many of my days.
Of international travel.
No. Those are overwhelming.
Yeah.
My friend Alex Keeley has got a superb bit of stand-up about the sort of disproportion between what Toblerones represent in everyday life, one of many chocolates, to what they are in the airport, the height of luxury.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yes, I increasingly, if I'm going through duty-free, I'll take a video of myself sort of wandering around duty-free, sort of being bewitched and bedazzled by all of the perfumes and sort of colossal sort of bottles of spirits, and then suddenly even more overwhelmed by the giant Toblerone. I think there's been more than one occasion where I've had to apologise to someone for doing content around Toblerones in a duty-free.
He's back. He's back. He's doing the Toblerone. Is he still wearing orange? Yes, he is. Yeah. But it's for his show. Don't think he's cool. It's for his show.
He's emailed Toblerone asking if they'll make special orange packaging. He hasn't, but I have done that with a couple of things. I recently wrote an email to Sixt Car Rental,
right?
Because they're very orange, and I just said, big fan of how much you've committed. Would love to do any sort of work in partnership with you.
Nothing back yet.
Nothing yet from Sixt. It was only 3 days ago, and I've got a bounce back in German, which hasn't boded hugely well.
No. Well, you know what? The Google Translate exists. You crack on.
They can work it out. Surely
they'll figure it out. We should get to your first receipt.
Okay.
And it is for the last thing that you bought. So it doesn't have to necessarily be that exciting. It just has to be true.
Well, I've got a couple of items of clothing with me which are very recent.
Go on.
And one of them is this pair of high-waisted, baggy trousers inspired by Stephen from The Traitors.
Of course. I think he's going to have a profound impact on British fashion for the next 3 to 5 years.
I don't think I've ever been as invested in a reality TV contestant. I think he's so charming. I think spoiler alert, Two Traitors Faithful to Each Other was a stunning conclusion to the series. I thought he's such a fantastic representative of Scotland, the Isle of Lewis. And may I be the millionth person to say, every episode it was a thrill to see what he was wearing. And I've got a friend called Patrick Jack, who's a costume designer, and I've messaged him saying, "Do we make a bespoke orange jumpsuit in the style of Stephen Libby from The Traitors?"
Incredible.
So these are not anywhere near as exciting as anything he wore, but the high-waisted baggy trouser has been a sort of quite a fascination of mine for a while.
Okay, so but because of seeing Stephen,
my brother has always worn quite good trousers, and I've always thought I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to wear them as well as he does. But the thing I would say I'd say less than an hour between watching the final episode of The Traitors and buying these online. So this was the thing that got it over the line.
I'd love to see the sales spike
data,
of course. Wouldn't you? When everyone's like, do you know what? Jumpsuits are back. I don't think it's something you can necessarily do gradually. You can't, because it's quite clear that one day Ivo's wearing his regular trousers, and the next day, he's got trousers that are a little bit like the guy from The Traitors. You can't. I don't think you can. You can't. There's no gradient to it.
Well, I think the good thing about the orange again is that it pulls focus so much from everything else that actually, I didn't come in and you said because you're wearing a lovely pair of baggy trousers because you're distracted.
Too many orange things.
My snakeskin shirt, for example.
Yeah,
a gift last night from my friend Danielle. Fantastic. But I think the orange jumpsuit will be a more obvious homage.
Yeah.
And I also was excited to come in wearing a leather jacket, which I've never worn a leather jacket before as an item of casual wear, and I've always thought that they're associated with a particular stereotype.
Bad boy.
Sorry,
bad boy.
Of bad boy, which I am.
You're a good boy.
I'm a good boy. I'm afraid. I'm tediously, tediously so, but. I hosted an Arctic Monkeys themed club night last week where we listened to the Arctic Monkeys debut album in full. So there was a lot of...
What an album, by the way.
One of my favourite albums of all time. And it was clear to me that its lyrics are burnt into the mind and hearts of everyone who enjoyed it as a teenager. And it's quite depressing that we're getting to sort of the 20-year anniversary stage of our lives. But it is what it is. We must celebrate it. Nostalgia isn't always bad. So there was a lot of noughties nostalgia. We played a lot of clips from classic Big Brothers and things on the screen. But then we also moved through the Arctic Monkeys' career chronologically from there. And around the time of their fifth album, AM, Alex Turner in particular had a real leather jacket phase.
I remember.
So it's like, I've got to get a leather jacket for when we start playing songs from AM. Again, needless commitment to the bit. And I bought it on the way to the club from a vintage shop in a hurry. And then it got dumped in a big pile of coats next to the DJ booth. And when I put the song on, I grabbed a leather jacket, which I thought was mine. It belonged to my friend Avery. It was a very hot club. It was a very sweaty sort of half hour in the jacket. And she came up at the end and said, "You're wearing my jacket." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was mine." She said, "How could you think it was yours?" And I said, "Oh, I've never worn mine before." It was so ludicrous that I was like, it could have been any of the jackets. I'm so disorganized that I bought this sort of most loosely fitting, sort of cheapest leather jacket in my local vintage shop en route to the Tube. And then I just thought it was that one. And now I've just got that for future Arctic Monkeys themed nights.
Well, but you did wear it in today. As if it were part of the regular attire.
Well, I was just sort of experimenting with it.
And I thought, who's this bad boy?
Who's this bad boy? I remember I've been quite a good boy on Fake Reaction. Maybe it's me thinking the more items of clothing I wear, the harder it'll be for me to have to undress and pole dance.
Yeah.
So there's my leather jacket.
Do you know what? I've only ever worn one leather jacket, and it was pretty horrendous. And it was when I got my first ever job in TV. It was for CBBC. And they gave me a stylist because I was, I don't think I have any particular style now, but I had zero then. They sent me out with a stylist, and we went to Portobello Road Market, and there was loads of secondhand stuff. And he was like, this leather jacket looks so good. Now, bearing in mind, it was kids' TV, and I was in a studio, so the idea of wearing a leather jacket was already preposterous, but he was like, this is it. This looks so cool. And at the time, Justin Timberlake was wearing a lot of hoodies,
of course,
with a leather jacket over the top. So it was like smart casual, but also a bad boy. And this guy was like, "This is the one." Anyway, what neither he or I had realised is that on the back of it was a giant stitched effigy of a bald eagle, and the American flag. Right. And then also the transcription, Vietnam, if you ain't been there, shut your mouth. Now, I hadn't been there.
No.
I'd like to, for the record, I was not in Nam.
No.
But
you're a good man to admit that.
But I had to, I sort of had to try and weave this into my regular life. And I got, everybody I knew mocked me relentlessly for it.
I mean, yeah, it's... Did you ever wear it on the CBB
I don't
set?
think I did. I don't think so. Because I think the minute you walk in and they say, why does it say Vietnam if you haven't been there, shut your mouth on the back? You go, well, that's probably too much. It's probably a bit heavy.
It is a heavy topic. I've certainly never... I don't remember. I did a couple of shows on CBBC. Nam never came up.
Not once.
But it's hard because once you've got something like that, and I dare say this, did you stay in touch with the stylist?
I didn't.
They maybe were, dreaming of this not just being for the show, but of a revolution in your wardrobe, sort of on a more full-time basis. And it's hard when you're trying on these new identities because you're like, maybe this, as soon as you've done something once, you don't want to flake on it. Maybe I'll make this work for me. But I think the slogan there is what's really
and the fit was pretty horrendous.
Okay.
It was the sort of jacket that Anne Robinson popularised when she hosted The Weakest Link. It was that sort of fit.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look for me.
But I love that Justin Timberlake was part of the operation. He was the Stephen Libby of
He was,
of
his generation. Well, listen, I'm also a fan of Stephen, and I wish I could dress as beautifully as he does. I've recently started following him on Instagram, and my God, that man's curated that grid very well.
It's as someone who is quite disorganised, I am fascinated by how ready he was to be on the traitors. Of course, the game's very stressful and there are a couple of wobbly moments and it was far from a done deal. He could have, been booted out at any point. But as well as just, winning it and nailing it and becoming so beloved in the process, the wardrobe was ready. The social media was ready. It was, there's this clip of him winking at his friend during Olivia Rodrigo playing the song Traitor at Glastonbury.
Incredible.
Like, what a thing to have locked in.
Yeah. It's amazing. I was thinking weirdly about the prep that he'd have had to go through the other day because I can't plan ahead what I'm going to wear the next day. And every day I wake up I'm like, oh my God, I got nothing clean to wear. What am I going to? I've got this t-shirt's got a stain on it. If I put a jumper over it, it'll be fine. The idea that you're going to go into a show, which, are they there for a month maybe? You're going to have that many outfits that all slay every single day. And he's up later than everyone else.
Yeah,
and then, because he's doing his traitory business. And then in the morning, got to get up and, get steaming. It
was one of the saddest things about Paloma Faith being murdered first in the celebrity versions where she said, so many outfits.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, I relate to your panic a lot as well. And it's horrible when you think about all those, tech billionaires who wear just the same T-shirt and trousers every day because it's a decision they don't want to waste any time on. And I do understand the logic of that when I'm sort of freaking out about which of my orange items to wear to sped with Matt Edmondson. But I'm also like, such a shame for that not to be a source of delight or fascination in your life at all, to just cut out.
We move on to your regretful spend, and I'm intrigued. Where does it take us?
I got a couple. I'm sorry to be so indecisive again, like options wise. Like I've got one £10 regretful spend, and then I've got one £5,000 regretful spend.
I'm willing to hear both.
Okay,
let's start small. Come on, let's go for the £10 one.
So it's another item of clothing. It's one of the less beloved items in my hat box. And I would say it's...
By the way, I respect you've got a hat box.
Yeah.
How many hats are we talking?
I'd say probably about 20 hats in
You're
the hat
joking.
box. Well, you get a lot of caps these days. You do a lot of like there's a lovely comedy club called Chumps Comedy, and every time you gig for them, you get a chump cap. I've picked up a fair few sort of football beanies over the years, and then I've got a Russian shapka from my year abroad. There's a few more eccentric ones in there.
Do you suit a hat?
No. I see very few of the things I'm wearing. I think occasionally, obviously I was forced to wear one as part of the great bit of my Edinburgh show. I think possibly amongst all of the other misdirections and trauma responses in my life, not to be indelicate about these things, but I think maybe all the hats and all the hair dye might also be the fact that I'm just greying at such an incredibly rapid rate. And, I'm dealing with that the only way I know, going orange and putting on a Russian Shapka hat. But I went to, my friend Sophie had a birthday party at the Dalston Lounge just over a year ago. And afterwards, we went to the Dalston Jazz Bar, which is a sort of a club in a vintage shop. This is sickeningly Dalston, but it was such a lovely. The proprietor was pulling us pints for on the house with such a late night joie de vivre that I thought it was only respectful to buy everyone matching hats from his vintage shop. And the hats that there were most of on the wall, there were 4 of these hats, and they're not attractive hats. I don't even know what kind of hat it is. It's a sort of brown. Sort of like a sort of bucket hat.
Yes, it's a very shallow bucket.
It's a very shallow bucket.
It's a bucket that's not going to be doing. You're not going to find that on a building site.
No.
It's like someone's tried to merge with AI a detective hat and a bucket hat.
It's a bit detective. It's a bit sort of fisherman or whatever. Like it's.
Yes, it's sort of cross-genre hat.
It only pulls attention by dint of how sort of appalling it is.
But yes. So, yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't even work out.
There's not an angle it really works from.
Is there a way? Yes. It's got a. What's this strap thing going around? Is that to tighten it to your head?
Just in case it's too loose on the head.
Right. Okay.
You can tighten up your hat. I've not taken the liberty of doing that yet. I've got quite a fat head, so actually this is balancing precariously enough as it is.
It's quite flower pot men. It's. Yeah. It's like it's It's sort of like they ran out of hats on Jumanji for the extras, and they were like, "Well, is it khaki coloured? Yeah, fine. Stick him far in the background."
Well, if anyone does run out of hats in such a situation, I'd be delighted to not just bring this, but call up the rest of the gang, Steve, Will, and Dom, for whom they were just the closest people to the till. When I said, "We'll take all of those, please," because we were then going on back to Sophie's for another drink. I was like, "And we'll wear them to the afters." And again, no one else had really expressed an interest in the hat. I think the one thing that I stand by is that it was nice to get something from the shop because they'd welcomed us in and given us so many free drinks. But the others were desperate to take off these hats back at the afters. And I, giddy with the bit, was sort of saying repeatedly, like, "Hats on, boys," and sort of, lots of photos. Dom, I couldn't help but notice, like, interrupting him halfway through a conversation, "You seem to have taken off your hat." And my friend Steve and I, we went to the drum sheds. We went to a rave in November of last year to watch the DJ Purple Disco Machine. And I messaged Steve in advance saying, "This feels like a detective hat situation." Steve didn't bring his. He claimed to have forgotten to do so.
So it was just you wearing the hat?
It was just me. And what was a shame was I was quite pleased with the sort of disco suit I was wearing underneath, but I was wearing this on top. People did say I was very easy to find on the dance floor of the drum sheds, a former IKEA. But again, it was, a couple of people would say, "So why are you wearing the hat?" And when you realise there's no real origin story, it's like, it was only ever a bit that no one else was really in on.
It's just a bit that only you really care about.
Yeah. I wanted to, exercise, my sort of social influence to see if I could make 3 men I didn't know very well wear sort of quite unbecoming hats for the duration of an afters.
And by the sounds of it, the answer was no.
It was then last week. It was then Sophie's birthday again.
Gosh, the anniversary of the hat.
The anniversary. I thought, if not now, then when? And Sophie, whether this was to thwart the sort of hat anniversary or not, I don't know. But her birthday was in a sauna this year. Which is,
I was trying to think when you said as if to thought, I was like, what location do you not wear a hat? And I immediately thought front seat of a roller coaster. That's going to be it. And I thought swimming. So I wasn't far off.
Not far off with the sauna. And a sauna birthday. I'd never been to a sauna birthday before. Quite intimidating, in and of itself.
How many people?
About sort of 30 people.
All in the same sauna?
There was one point where we were all in one quite tight sauna for a sound bath. which was quite stressful. But largely it was a sauna complex where we were alternating between saunas, steam rooms, and those cold plunges.
Yeah.
And obviously I wasn't getting my head wet because I was protecting my hat.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I didn't back I brought it with me in my bag. And upon seeing, that no one else had brought their hat, and also just seeing everyone else in the sauna, increasingly, as so many people are these days, younger than me. And I just thought, trying to bring this in here is going to do very little for my diminishing, legitimacy at this party. And it stayed in the bag. And then just as we were leaving, Steve said, "Didn't bring your hat then?" And I sort of mournfully went into my bag and went, "Yes, I didn't back myself." And he said, "You think this is the end of the hat?" And I said, I think it probably is.
And yet here you are wearing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I thought this would be quite a nice send-off for it.
Yeah, okay. Do you know what? I respect your dedication to the hat thing.
Have you ever been in that situation though, where you've had a souvenir from a festival or a great night out with a sort of group of friends, where you're then, and ideally something that's come together a little bit more organically than this, but you're then chasing that moment, again? Have you got any sort of matching items?
Not matching items necessarily. I have an ongoing thing with my friend Preston where we once played the adult-only version of Taboo called, Taboo After Hours, and it's pretty bad.
Okay.
And we both felt it was quite bad. But then at the event we were at, they gave everyone a copy of this game, presumably because they had a warehouse full of them they couldn't shift. And we now, and it's been going on for about 15 years, we'll try and gift each other
fantastic
this game. And it's the same game, and it just gets passed back and forth. But new and inventive ways to try and, disguise it as something else, or he's getting married soon. So
fantastic.
That's the wedding present sorted.
What's the proudest you've ever been of a way in which you've given it to him?
I think I sent him a massive box because I have a board games company. I sent him a massive game of my own games.
But you've been chasing down, didn't a large amount of your board games get lost?
They did.
And so you're frequently chasing down your own games.
I'm chasing down my own games, yeah. But I sent him a box full of them, and I buried Taboo in the middle of them all. Because what you want is, this is fine, and then,
of course,
for it later to be discovered.
The comedian Tim Key has a fantastic running thing, I think, where he gives Alex Horne a copy of the book Diary of a Nobody in increasingly outlandish ways every year. And we went to their birthday party last year, and I do apologise. I'm so sorry. I'd like to apologise to Katie Wicks and Adam Drake. It's their bit, which Tim is loosely involved in. But anyways, Katie and Adam, and they had got it for... I'm all over the place with this story. Tim Key and Alex Horne have a joint birthday party.
Right.
But the gift is for Tim from Katie and Adam. And Alex Horne is he's just watching. But they got him... I was at this party, and there was a lot of talk about how they'd got him a trampoline. This huge box with I guess a small trampoline, but nonetheless a trampoline in it. And I became obsessed with, we've got to open this at the party, and then realised it was quite light. I was like, there's not a trampoline in here. And very much beyond my station, decided to open it in the middle of the party.
So you opened someone else's birthday?
I opened someone else's party.
Okay, yeah, fine.
And there was just a copy of the diary, which I didn't know about the joke at this point, but they were very proud of the sort of the way in which they've evolved that. And Tim is a great one for keeping these traditions up. Tim and I and our friend Hannah, on the day the Edinburgh Comedy Award nominations were announced about 4 years ago, bumped into each other in the street minutes after they'd been announced, discussed them at great length, sort of stood next to a fire hydrant on the Cowgate, and then got splashed by a passing car. And this was such a iconic moment to the three of us that we have now done the Cowgate roundup every year since, where
Incredible.
We meet up in the same place the afternoon the awards are discussed, drink a beer in the street, and hope that we get splashed. And this year, I'm not going to the Edinburgh Fringe. So I'm wondering slightly whether I'm going to go up to Edinburgh purely
Just for that.
just so that I can discuss the nominations in the street with Tim and Hannah. Big decision.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my hat off at this juncture.
That's quite all right, yeah, of course.
It's been a pleasure to... This is the longest I think I've ever worn it for in one sitting.
And are you going to take it with you, or are you going to...
Oh, it would give me a huge amount of pride.
You can definitely leave it here if you want.
Could it be a part of the backdrop?
Yeah, if you would like, yeah.
Wow, if it's phased out, I'll have to respect that.
Yeah.
But it'd be great to be liberated.
Yeah, of course.
And the hat box is getting full as well. So
yeah, don't you worry about it. It feels like it's a heavy weight you've been carrying there.
An albatross.
Yeah, so we can take that from you. Let's hear the £5,000 regret.
Well,
is it 500 hats?
No, it's a Skoda Fabia, and I bought a Skoda Fabia in a bit of a hurry about 3 years ago.
In a bit of a hurry.
Well, I'd sort of put off getting a car. I'd been borrowing my friend's Volkswagen Golf for so long, but it was time to stop borrowing their Golf and get myself a car. And the comedian John Robbins is a big advocate of the Skoda Fabia. He says when you're getting a Golf, you're just paying for the badge. And I respect that. I'm not a car person. So I thought I'll do that to impress John, to text him a picture of me with my Skoda Fabia, and he can be impressed by my thrift. But it didn't. This is a very first world problem. It doesn't have Bluetooth. And I have had sort of nearly 4 years now of chaotically connecting my phone to an aux lead and resenting the lack of Bluetooth in my Fabia. And I would say there was probably maybe even as little as a few £100 worth of difference between this and a car that would have had something which makes such a difference to my daily life in the car. And I don't know if you've got any purchases. I don't want to be vulgar about, being able to buy a car at all. Fantastic. The Fabia has served me very well in lots of other ways. But that thing where it was a saving at the time that I probably could have afforded not to make, and I've resented it so much. And my brother got in the car the first time I gave him a lift, and he said, he was observing some of the things it didn't have, and he said, it's a bit Spartan, this car, isn't it? And he now nicknames it the Sparta. and that's haunted me as well. It's led to quite a nice new chapter recently where the aux jack has broken. And now my daughter, my main passenger in the car, and we play CDs in the car, which is such a lovely throwback for me. And even she's become quite fascinated by playing CDs. May I say I've been delighted over this by some of the content of you making music with your daughter. That's been a hugely important part of my relationship with my daughter. And I'm quite sad at the thought that the next car I get will almost certainly not have a CD player. So that's one old-fashioned thing I quite like about it.
You could probably get one connected to an aux cable, but then you're back to square one.
But then, that's the problem. No, I think ideally I'll get a sort of electric car or a hybrid. And I told my friend that I wanted to get an electric car with a CD player, and he laughed and he said, "There's no one in the world needs to be in that overlap of the Venn diagram." But my daughter and I, we play. I'm constantly trying to sort of teach her that we have a no repeats sticker in the car, which she hates. We can't listen to... She sits in the front now, and she always wants to turn back and listen to a song she's just enjoyed. For example, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga.
Of course.
And I spent so long trying to say, the next song on the album, Garden of Eden, is really great as well. You have to trust me. So then I got the sticker that says no repeats. And so I now point at the sticker, and she sort of slaps her hand on her knee and says, "I hate the sticker." So that's her most resented of my purchases.
I hate the no repeat sticker. Man, I need to introduce that in my house because all we do is listen to the same 3 songs over and over again.
What are they?
They are Apata,
okay,
Rosé and Bruno Mars. They are the opening track of The Greatest Showman.
Fantastic.
And currently K-pop Demon Hunters Golden.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're going to a K-pop Demon Hunters party for my daughter's birthday next week.
How exciting.
We're very excited.
Yeah.
That CD, again, I bought her a K-pop Demon Hunters CD for Christmas, and I thought, I would love to know how many people have bought a K-pop Demon.
You.
It's the biggest brand in the world, but on the most dead format in the world, certainly to 6-year-olds. How many other people have purchased K-pop Demon Hunters Uno?
Wow.
And you as a board games man would be horrified by how clearly non-branded this. So many typos on the back.
Yeah. Is it a knockoff version?
Yeah. When you're down to one card, don't forget to YOL Uno. Bit of a shame.
Listen, they had to get to the factory and get it printed pretty quickly.
Of course, for me and no one else on December the 23rd.
Let's move on then to your most ridiculous purchase. I mean, the hat feels pretty ridiculous.
There's a bit of overlap between these questions, and there's certainly overlap in the answers, I would say.
Go on. What are we talking?
I would say the most ridiculous thing that I've invested a not insignificant amount of money in over the last year.
And you've caveated that with the word invested, like it's going to pay some dividends later.
I believe it will, but at the moment, it feels like a lot of speculation and not a lot of accumulation. And also, I don't think any of the accumulation is going to be financial.
Okay.
I think it's purely on what it can do for a community. So I have made quite a lot of my own Swindon Town Football Club fan cards because I'm a fan of Swindon Town Football Club. They're trying to do more things to get the sort of Swindon Town fan community, and particularly the younger generation, involved. And I used to collect football cards when I was a kid. And obviously Swindon Town have, barring 1 year in the Premier League, never really been at a level to get involved in much of the merch.
Okay, so when you say cards, you mean like a Panini sticker book kind of that sort of thing. Exactly. When you said cards, I was imagining like greetings cards. I thought this is even more niche.
Let's not rule out greetings cards. But no, what I've got in my orange folder is some of the Swindon Town cards that I've made.
So you've made these yourself, as in like you've designed them.
I've designed them. I've commissioned the artwork.
Okay.
I have written the biographies on the backs, and I've had them printed at a London printing shop.
Okay, and how many sets of these cards exist? Is it just this binder?
No. I'd say there are thousands of these cards in existence.
Right. Okay. And are you selling them?
Low thousands. No. They're I give them out at Swindon Town games and at comedy shows in Swindon. Ideally, at sort of like charity fundraisers for other things, where you're trying to get people to sort of donate to. Like my mum works for a refugee charity in Swindon called the Harbour Project, so we'll be selling like, getting people to come to those shows. I make Swindon Oasis T-shirts because Oasis are named after the Oasis Leisure Centre in Swindon, which is currently closed. So we make T-shirts which say Swindon Oasis in that font, which I'm very proud of. And we're asking people to pay for those. So to be able to throw in a couple of Swindon Town fan cards feels like a gesture of goodwill.
Okay, so you've printed thousands, and you're paying for this just out of your own pocket?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, in bulk, it's not a vast expense. But it is nonetheless, of course, an expense. Do you have an affiliation to any football team?
No, I'm very sports agnostic.
I thought you were sports agnostic. Would you name a sort of famous Premier League team?
Name a famous Premier League team. Arsenal.
I think that's within your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So what I've got, and my friend Steve will love that this is the guy. So this is a classic 1998 card of Dennis Bergkamp.
Now,
so
is that a real
That's
card?
a real one. Don't you worry. This is the sort of thing I would have got in my shreddies in 1998. But now, what I've got is, and I think we'll just go straight for Swindon's greatest ever player. So this is a card of Don Rogers, who scored the sort of winning goals for Swindon in the 1969 League Cup final against Arsenal.
So it's not the current squad.
Oh, it's the current squad as well. It's a mixture of current players and legends.
Yeah.
Of course, it's to appeal to all generations.
Yeah.
But I hoped that as a games maker, there would be something. There are worse people in the world I could present my orange folder of homemade cards
Listen,
to.
can I have a look at the card?
Of course
I'm obsessed with card stock.
Okay.
And GSM. These are lovely quality.
It's solid GSM, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good. And where did you get them manufactured, Ivo?
Should I? Of course I should give a shout out to Sandip at the London Print Company, actually.
Oh,
yes.
wonderful.
With his catchphrase, always same day.
Always
he says that
same
with quite
day.
a sort of weary look because I'm yet to request cards at more than a day's notice.
Okay, incredible.
So I presented that to Don Rogers, the man himself,
his own
just before
card.
Christmas, which was a very proud moment for me and quite a confusing moment for him. But he'd seen me on House of Games, and I added a degree of dignity to the exercise. But it was dignity that I swiftly shredded.
How many individual players have you done?
About 80.
80.
But we've got a very...
And you've hired an artist to do this?
Well, what I'm quite excited by, so this is, this is the full sort of spread of players. But my dad worked...
Let me give you Don back.
Oh, thank you very much. No, I think I'd love you to keep
do you know
Don,
what? I will. Do you know what? I was thinking, God, I'd love to fiddle with Don.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you
and you
so
must.
much.
He's our greatest ever player. But And feel free to lose yourself in the biography in the back at a
I
moment
will.
of leisure.
I will. Before I get to it, are there jokes in the biography? Is it pretty like?
No,
this is.
I would like to think the Don one I would say is not one of my better ones, but I would say a friend of mine suggested that I should get AI to write the bios, which I think we should not be using AI for anything where possible. But I was also quite insulted by the idea that AI would be able to write a biography of a Swindon Town player as good as I could.
Yeah, better than you.
So
yes.
I have put a lot of effort into sort of. I think it's some of my best writing, actually.
Okay, great. I look forward to I mean, it's pretty dense, so I look forward to reading that later on.
That's good. Yeah, arguably the font is too small. That's been a complaint.
Don
so we'll
Rogers.
bear those in mind.
Okay, yeah.
But something I'm very proud of, may I say, Matt, is that my dad is doing some work for academy schools in Swindon, and again trying to sort of link up academy schools and get more projects going in the community. And a man called Simon, who is in charge of this initiative. He's a big Swindon fan, so I got chatting to him about things we could do, because I'd gone in. I had the great honour of presenting the awards at a spelling bee in Swindon last summer. So I turned up in a Swindon shirt, presented the awards at the spelling bee, started handing out cards, and quite quickly we'd agreed on an initiative, an art project for budding artists at these schools to draw their favourite Swindon players, so that I could then turn them into cards, which is not, I must repeat, not a shortcut to child labour to save money on the cards.
They won't be getting reimbursed for their efforts.
They won't be, but what they will get is the glory of having their cards with their artwork distributed at Swindon Games, exhibited at the County Ground and in the Swindon Museum, and hopefully we're going to have a presentation ceremony where we all go to a match together in March, all of the winners. Some lovely stuff has come in. My daughter is 6 and she's not very into football, but she loves drawing. That's her favourite thing, and I'm constantly bewitched by her drawings and putting them on the walls and making them into T-shirts and mugs and things. So I kind of know what it is to see that energy in full flow in a kid, and I think that's there's less of that these days. What with the screens,
yeah,
and so I thought that would be quite a nice way again to link up schools of Swindon, the club, the community, and crucially, my vast appetite for printing cards.
For printing stuff, yeah. Do you know what? I feel like you've argued yourself out of the ridiculousness.
Okay.
It started sounding pretty ridiculous.
Well, that's what I mean about the sort of hope that this is going to, this is all going to make sense.
Yeah, one day it's going to bring everyone together.
Mm. It's a big few months, I would say.
I'm very, very impressed by the level of dedication. So when you started this,
yes.
So you've now got 80, but what the initial batch? How many did you commission to be illustrated?
Pretty much all in one go, actually.
Right, and can I ask how much that cost you?
You can't.
Okay.
I'd say it's somewhere between a hat and a Skoda Fabia.
Right, I was going to say, yeah, it's because to get 80 bits of unique artwork commissioned and then take the time to sit and write it all, get it all laid out.
And there were some panics as well.
Get it to the printers.
Don Rogers has had a moustache for most of his life.
Right.
He's quite a famously moustachioed man. He's not in that card because he didn't have a moustache in the 1969 League Cup final, and I was losing a lot of sleep over this decision. And I'd say it was on the eve of the final printing day that I messaged Yashra, an artist in Pakistan who I'd found on the internet, to say, final decision. No, get rid of the tush. We might release a limited edition mustachioed Don, but no, he is Swindon's greatest ever player, and Swindon Town fans have been wearing hats with his. I've lost it.
Not another hat.
It's astonishingly, it's another hat.
How many hats are you carrying with you at any one time?
Well, it's just a 2-hat day, I would say, but it's buried probably in the folds of the
leather jacket.
Of the leather jacket. What a situation to be in. Anyway, I've got a hat with Don Rogers on. And I also bought some orange pants online, and only after they arrived I see that they said the Don. They say the Don on them. You know, where pants might sound like Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
And the Don is a bit self-important for me as a sort of nickname, particularly on pants. But I quite like when I'm wearing my hat with Don Rogers on, and I'm wearing my orange pants that say the Don on, and I've got a card of Don Rogers in my pocket. I'm rarely as confident when I'm triple Don.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were to be arrested and frisked, there'd be a lot of explaining to do. We move, Ivo, to a very small game. It's called Boom or Bust.
Oh, please.
And it's just to get a sense of how in touch with money you are. I'm going to ask you which of two things you believe to be more expensive, and you just say which one you think is more expensive, and I'll tell you if you're right or if you're wrong.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, please.
Let's do it! What is more expensive, a pint of milk or a loaf of sliced bread?
Well, a pint of milk.
No, it's the bread. A medium latte or a pint of Guinness?
A pint of Guinness.
Correct. A driving lesson or a family train ticket?
A family train ticket.
No, it's a driving lesson. An average annual electricity bill or an average annual water bill?
An average annual electricity bill.
Correct. A year of family groceries or the average Rolex watch?
What a great question. The average Rolex watch.
Yes, it is. A month's rent in London or a Tour de France bicycle?
A month's rent in London?
No, it's the bicycle. Tickets to the World Cup final or an indoor golf simulator?
Well, these particular World Cup tickets are disgustingly inflated, so I'm going to say it's that.
Yes, it is. A television camera or a wedding ring?
Oh, it obviously very much depends on the ring. Come on, a ring.
No, it's the television camera. But you're right, it could be. I would go to VAR on that one.
Okay.
A Formula One car or Kim Kardashian's private jet?
Kim Kardashian's private jet.
Yes, a 30-second Super Bowl ad or Ronaldo's earnings for an Instagram post?
Super Bowl ad.
It's got to be the Super Bowl ad. Very expensive. That is correct.
What a fantastic game.
You did pretty well there.
I did okay. I'm annoyed about the milk and the bread.
It's okay. It was a bad start, but you really recovered afterwards.
Close, aren't they?
They are close.
They're both in the sort of £1 region.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Anyway.
Thereabouts. I think it's because it's a pint of milk, and I think people often imagine more than a pint.
I think that's exactly what I've done.
That's what's gone on there.
A pint is a little one.
Pint's a little one.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. You've been done over by the measurements. I'm sorry.
I've been done over by myself.
Yeah. Well, and the quiz. Listen, it was 50-50 that. We're partly to blame. There's two sides to every story in a relationship. Before you go, we must move to your £25 nationwide gift. They gave you 25 quid and they said you could spend it on anything you wanted, but it had to be something that you hadn't bought before. I worry with you. You've bought a lot of weird stuff. So what did you spend the £25 on?
I commissioned another artwork of a Swindon play. No, I'm happy to do that myself. What I got was, may I reveal? I think it's in the room with us.
Yes. I think you sounded like like we're having a seance. I think it's in the room with us now.
Well, I suppose what I mean is, am I expected to produce it?
I can produce it.
Okay.
You can say it, I'll produce it.
I
That's
bought some
teamwork.
protective knee, elbow, and wrist pads for skateboarding and
my God.
rollerblading.
I'll tell you what, a leather jacket and now a skateboard. This guy is cool. What's going on? There's a real turnaround. Well, there they are.
Fantastic.
Have you recently taken up skateboarding?
That's exactly what I've done.
Okay.
So my daughter has expressed a great interest in rollerblading, and so she got rollerblades for Christmas. We're at the great age where a lot of these things are starting to become brilliantly possible. We live not far from an ice rink, so we started going ice skating together.
Amazing.
And I don't want to be too sentimental about it, but watching your child learn to if you're sad about how you'll never get to see your child learn to walk again, watching them learn to rollerblade or to ice skate is you get a little version of that in a day. And she was just so delighted. First time she abandoned her penguin, because you go around leaning on these little penguins. First time my daughter went penguin free. Very proud day. So then she wanted to get into rollerblading. We live near a park. I thought that'd be a lovely thing to go blading together in the park. But I've never rollerbladed. I'll get myself some rollerblades. And then my friend Rose invited us to a skateboard class with her and her daughter last weekend. And it was meant to be in a park, but due to wet weather conditions, we were just underneath the Hammersmith flyover.
Yeah.
So it's just 2 adults and 2 kids just doing very basic. We were trying to jump onto a stationary skateboard. Do you skateboard?
I have as a younger man. When I was a kid, I was into it, but I went to the skate park in Portsmouth and was very intimidated by the people who could actually skate.
Yes, that you're dealing with a different intimidation when you're under the flyover. You're not surrounded by better skaters. You're just surrounded by people going about their business.
Yeah.
While you try and jump onto a skateboard and in panic and sort of need reassurance, or do a pancake where it's resting on your toes and you have to jump, flip it, and land on it.
Horrendous.
But I dare say all of these things were second nature to you back in the day.
No, they really weren't.
Were you padded up?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a maniac.
Well, we were lent pads, but our teacher, Harry, was emphatic. He said, next lesson, you've got to bring your own pads.
So you're going back and you're bringing your own pad. And you said, well,
back and
it just so happens, Harry,
that I've been offered a £25 budget.
Yeah. Okay, great. So this is good. So we're protecting your wrists and your knees and your elbows.
Yes.
Okay.
The main bits.
The main bits.
Well, and I've already got a helmet, and I'm going to practice. I think the thing I'm most excited and a bit embarrassed about is the fact that I'm probably going to practice on my own as well, possibly even without my daughter.
Of course, yeah.
But
don't tell your daughter, and then you'll turn up and you'll just be like,
yeah,
Dad's really good at this.
What a tiny win that's going to be for me.
Incredible.
But I suppose it's chasing a second childhood, I suppose, and a lot of things that I didn't do first time around, and a lot of things that I probably would have been too cowardly to do. And now, like my daughter, even during the lesson, was saying like, come on, Daddy, jump. But I was like too nervous to jump onto my skateboard. So I'm intent upon not getting ahead of her, but just getting to a level which she will respect.
I look forward to reading the headlines about a horrific accident that Ivo Graham's been in.
Solo skateboarder under flyover.
Yes.
As passes by.
That feels like a lovely note to end on. Ivo, thank you so much
for having me, Matt.
It's been an absolute joy. And thank you to Nationwide for giving you those beautiful...
Well, yes, and for sponsoring Swindon Town for so many years. Sadly, that partnership came to an end a couple of years ago. But if I can make one final appeal to Nationwide,
it's to
come back to Swindon, please. We need you.
They've got a great trading card operation.
Yeah. Well, I'd be delighted to put Nationwide's name on the card.
Fantastic. This has been Spent, brought to you in association with Nationwide. A good way to bank. Ivo, as I said, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy, and I feel like I've spoken to you all day. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcast and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And don't forget to keep sending your spending confessions if you fancy. We love hearing those. I will be back next time with another guest and another journey through their purchasing past. See you then. I really hope you are enjoying Spent. If you want to see more, then follow us wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe on YouTube. Plus, check out This Is Money on Instagram and TikTok for bonus content with our guests.